Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's MicroPod. As always, we are always late. It doesn't matter what we do, we're always a little bit late. One day. Actually, guys, weren't we on time last week? There's me saying that. Weren't we on time? I think we were actually.
No, we were all in the hangout on time, but we weren't live.
That is true. Yeah, we had some technical issues, so there you go.
It just felt like we were on time because the entire group was here at the same time.
We were all ready to go. Yeah, a few technical issues, but anyway, there you go. So yeah, welcome to another show. We've got a real good one packed for tonight. We've got a great guest on as well. Before we go any further, I just want to quickly mention the podcast going on to iTunes and Anchor and Spotify as well through Respawn Gaming. That's a new sort of partnership that we've got with Respawn Gaming to get the podcasts out and about and get some more sort of accessibility for you guys for the podcast. You know, you don't have to solely do it through YouTube. You can do it through other areas, and which is a great thing for us. And you know, a great group of guys. And if we can help them and get them some publicity and get them some more people visiting their channel as well, even better. So make sure you go and check out Respawn Gaming on YouTube and show your support to them. So let's get on with the show. Got a great guest tonight, Jago Kuken. Have I said that right? Kuken.
Yep, you're exactly right, brother.
There we go. Saying it, and I'm like, hang on, have I said it right? But absolutely to have Jago on the show tonight from the retro. Oh, bloody hell, I've written it down, and now I've just scribbled it out. What have I scribbled it out? Retro Grayman, isn't it? Yeah.
Retro Renegades.
Why have I written it down wrong? I was looking at it. That's not right. Yeah.
And you haven't even started drinking yet.
I know.
Such a letdown.
No. As it happens, actually, I have. But
welcome to the unprofessional podcast of the MicroPod.
But anyway, there you go. And also from the Game Dosage podcast as well. So it's an absolute joy to have him on. He's always in the comment section and supporting the podcast. And I saw him on last week, and I thought, right, I'm going to grab him whilst I could. And I grabbed him with both hands and I didn't let him go all week. And so, pleasure to have you on the show, mate. Really glad that you could join us tonight, even though I wrote it all down wrong. There you go.
No, you're good, man. It's my pleasure to be here. And for the special occasion of how we do things on the Dazzcast and Retro Renegades, I brought my own beverage kind of early just for you guys and Andy Mack especially. You ready?
No, hang on. Ready?
Ready. Beer.
Cider. Once it hits your lips.
But no, it's great to have you on the show, and anybody watching that hasn't been over, make sure you go and check out the Retro Renegades and the Game Dosage podcasts. Definitely support those guys.
Appreciate that.
So here we go. So what have you been playing, Jago, this week?
Oh, like we were kind of talking a little bit earlier before the show started. Mainly Anthem. A tiny bit of Far Cry New Dawn. I'll say probably, I've said 10 minutes earlier. I lied. It's probably more like an hour. But it felt, 10 minutes. Yeah, it seemed like 10 minutes. And what else? A little bit of Crackdown. One day this week, just for a few minutes, trying to collect more orbs, because I've actually beaten the last boss, but not all the bosses. So technically, I beat the game. And then I've seen the title screen to Metro Exodus because I just wanted to boot it up.
No, I'm definitely interested in getting that game. But the trouble, it's mad for games at the moment, isn't it? There's so many games coming out at the moment. And you want to play with them.
We got Devil May Cry coming out on Friday.
Oh, yeah. 2 weeks you got Division 2 as well, which I can't wait to play that game. The beta's good. But I don't know if you agree with this, Andy, as well. Like, I'm playing the beta, and I don't think the beta build is as good as the build we played at EGX last year. Have you found that?
I think it's at the moment the beta build's quite poor because of the sound issues.
Sound bugs, yeah. The rest of it's cool. The rest of it's cool. It's just this little sound bug that you just lose all the sound on the weapons. It's really weird.
I experienced that during the open beta or whatever. What was it, last weekend?
Yeah,
2 weekends ago?
Well,
like, no, all sounds going away. Like the gun sound sometimes just completely just disappearing. I was like, what in the hell?
Yeah, and the rumble, you know, the feedback on the controller when you're firing as well. So it was a bit strange, but that didn't happen on the build we played last year. So a bit strange, but hopefully the full release won't have that problem. But anyway, oh great. So Sherman, what have you been playing this week, buddy?
3 words.
Kitchen fin. Oh no, that's 2 words.
Wait, what? What was that? Okay. Well, I was. Yeah. Okay. I'll leave that alone. Crackdown 3.
Good man.
That's all I've been doing. Every time I fire up the Xbox, it's just been all about Crackdown 3, and I'm on this. That game could easily have been subtitled "The Game for People with OCD," because I'm totally obsessed with getting every orb I can find. And speaking of which, major props to Andy for sending me the developer video, because Monday, and you guys may have seen this, I posted with a picture on my screen of that massive 10 gig update that showed up when I turned the Xbox on for Crackdown, and I'm like, wait, hold up, what's up? 10 gigs? What's going on? And I'm thinking, oh, they must have taken care of the multiplayer issue, the Wrecking Zone multiplayer problem that they had, but I didn't. There were no liner notes, if you will. So I just put it out there, like, anybody know what's going on with this update? So I don't know. It was a few hours, and Andy saw it and sent the link to the developer diary, and it was all good. And I'm guessing all of you here have tried it out since they sent that update out, but it was pretty nice. I
haven't been able to get on it yet this week.
Oh man, there's new vehicles, especially the main one, the linebacker. Oh man, I love it. The linebacker is no joke.
When was the update? I don't think I've played it.
I got it Monday.
Since the update.
I got it Monday night.
Maybe I had
late Monday, early Tuesday. And so new vehicle. There's a new weapon called the what's it called? The Duck Hammer.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah,
the Duck Hammer.
It shoots ducks or exploding ducks or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it launches this. It looks like a grenade launcher, but it launches this big. It looks like a big giant orb. Truthfully, it looks like a big orb, and then right at its arc, before it heads downward, it splits into all these neon ducks, and then when it hits the ground, it's just major explosions everywhere.
Okay,
it's pretty cool. And then Jackson, Terry Crews, he's got a new suit that you can choose, and it's like a power booster suit. So all of your abilities get increased over and above what you've already got. So if you've already maxed out your character, then it'll push his abilities even further, and it definitely makes it distant. Oh man, I'm wrecking fools in this game now. I mean, it's just, over and above what I was already doing. It's funny to me, and I'm gonna stop this real quick. But you asked what I've been playing, the Crackdown, and I saw somebody post something that made a lot of sense the other day, and the whole Metacritic thing, and how they diss the game, and somebody brought up a really valid point. They said, when the first Crackdown came out, Metacritic gave it an 81. Now, that was the first Crackdown. Now, anybody that's played Crackdown 3, especially that's put some time into it, everybody's walked away saying the same thing. Like, man, this game is way better than Crackdown 1. So if Crackdown 1 got an 81 Metacritic, then how did Crackdown 3 get a... You see where I'm going with this?
It's because Xbox isn't fashionable.
There's no way in hell that Crackdown 3 deserves a 60 or whatever the hell it is. That game, I scored it at 8 myself, and I don't normally score games or give games scores, but for as much fun I was having in that game, it like blast the whole time.
Yeah,
it's an 8 for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw IGN score 5 out of 10, I thought you are taking a piss. I really did. I just thought you played the wrong game. And I love the way that all these... Well, we're going to discuss game reviews later on, but I love the fact that these guys are actually doing full reviews on games they haven't even got the finished versions of. They're playing unpatched, unfinished versions. Right. It's ridiculous. Right. But anyway. But
yeah, that's what I've been playing. So that's it. That's my Crackdown. That's this week in Crackdown rants. So that's all I got to say for that. And I'm looking forward to our other topics that we will be covering in today's show. Yes, this is my semi-intro, so great to be on the show again, and looking forward to the rest of it. So let's do this.
Awesome. And over to my buddy E-Rock X. What have you been playing this week, man?
Brother E-Rock.
I've seen the videos, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Hey guys, what's going on? Am I coming in loud and clear?
You are coming in loud and clear, matey. Yes.
You're good.
Yeah, this is E-Rock X, the Don King of Xbox, the hype man for the Xbox brand and the meanest man on Twitter. Check me out on Twitter, it's E-Rock X. And as always, a YouTube channel, like, hate, or subscribe. And I've been getting on Crackdown 3, as the rest of you gentlemen have. I really enjoyed that game. That game is fantastic. I am now actually down to just 2 more underbosses and the main boss, the woman who runs Terra Nova. I'm trying to slow down. Because this is one of those games that I don't want to finish, but it's inevitable. But I'm just down now to 2 underbosses and the main boss, and the game's been a blast so far. But shockingly, the game has been taking up a lot of my time lately. That made me take a break from Crackdown, and made me take a break from Jump Force, and take a break from Kingdom Hearts 3, which is excellent, by the way, is WWE 2K19.
Nice.
I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with American wrestling, but 2K is like a yearly release.
Yep.
Of varying quality, like Madden. I usually don't buy those yearly releases. The last wrestling game I bought was WWE 2K16 because it paid tribute to... in America, it was called the Attitude Era. It was a WWF Attitude Era featuring Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And it had era. Yeah, man. Yeah. It just full on nostalgia factor. It had like all the legends from WWF's past and all the Attitude Era stuff and challenges. So for me, that was the best wrestling game currently ever. So 2K was having a sale about a month ago. 2K was having a sale in the Xbox store, and they were basically giving away WWE 2K19 for like $20. So I said, all right, man, I'll bite. I mean, what the heck, man? I might as well get it now. And of course, with all these games now, you got to buy the season pass to unlock everything, right?
Yeah.
So I got it, and like if you are a wrestling fan, here in North America, like. This is really well done. Like, it's got its glitches. Like, the collision detection sometimes is kind of wonky. But, like, coming off of 2K16, they've doubled the polygon count of the characters. Like, I mean, the people look like who they're supposed to look like. Except for a few created characters, the people look like who they're supposed to look like. The polygon count's been doubled. The creator suite, create an arena, create a wrestler, because these games live or die by their community. And Even though there's a huge suite of wrestlers already available to you when you fire up 2K19, that's not the game. The game is the community. The community's created whoever you want. So let me break this down to you guys. Am I still coming in clear?
Well, mate, yes, definitely.
All right, like say if you want to rebook WrestleMania 3 and have Randy Savage beat Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, done. Say you want to, I don't know, rebook WrestleMania X7 and have The Rock beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, done. Say you want to go back in the past and find Billy Jack Haynes or Bam Bam Terry Gordy or the Fabulous Freebirds or some Southern wrestling legends from Texas, done. Say you want to recreate the Philadelphia Spectrum or the Boston Garden, these legendary arenas that are no longer around. Somebody created them for you. Done. Say you want to wrestle at All Elite Wrestling, which hasn't even had their debut show yet. Done. Wrestlers already created by the community, arena already done. Say you're a fan of Mexican here in North America, Mexican Lucha Libre. Done. Somebody's already created the wrestlers, created the arenas. All you do is, dude, it's like, the only thing I could compare it to, it's like the ultimate wrestling sandbox that you play in, and you will not stop. I've lost hours of my life on WWE 2K19. Now, eventually I'll get tired of it, but like every time I start getting tired of it, somebody's created the wrestling leagues that, because here in America, it wasn't just WWF. It was like all these leagues, like WCW, ECW. I mean, say you want to go back to the ECW arena and relive ECW. Done. Somebody's created the arena. They created Raven. They created the Sandman. It's ridiculous. Say you're into Japanese wrestling, New Japan Wrestling. Done. Somebody's created the arena, the shows, the wrestlers. Dude, I've never seen it. This is beyond anything I would have ever imagined. And it basically lays down a gauntlet to Madden NFL. Like, what are you doing over there, EA? You're so lazy. You don't have any creative stadiums. You don't have any creative teams. You really don't have anything for the $60 you're asking for each year. And here, WWE 2K19 has overloaded this game with options. If you're a wrestling fan, and say like, well, I don't like WWE. I don't like WWE at all. I liked Mid-South Wrestling or Georgia Championship Wrestling back in the 80s. Somebody created the wrestlers in the arenas. Jeez. It's unheard of.
I was going to ask you about that, E-Rock. So how far back, to your knowledge, have they gone? Because I remember, and I'm talking way back in the day, like in the 70s when I was in high school. The old school wrestlers like the original Sheik, Coco Savage, and
Big Cat Ernie Ladd.
All those guys. So
someone, Harley Race, they're all in there.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
What you do is you go into the Creative Suite, Community Creations. You type in the name, and someone in the United States or around the world's created them. And end the story.
Can next time you play the game, E-Rock, can you go and have a look in there and see if anybody's done Big Daddy and Joint A-Stacks?
Big Daddy, he was a huge wrestler. Big Daddy was a huge wrestler in Great Britain in the 80s. He was Great Britain's version of Hulk Hogan. And he literally looked like a Big Daddy. He looked like somebody's father. Big belly, but like he was so over. He was so huge. And Haystacks Calhoun was actually an international star. He wrestled a few times over here in World Championship Wrestling. They are in the game. So I will look up Big Daddy.
Yeah, but look, they're in there.
I cannot recommend, if you're a wrestling fan at all or have any respect for wrestling history, I cannot recommend WWE 2K19 enough.
I think once my son hears about this, he is like, I have never seen anybody more into wrestling than him. I mean, it's almost an unhealthy obsession.
He's probably already got it, Sherman. He's probably already got it.
He actually, you know what? You could be right. Now, E-Rock, who's the developer for this game?
The developer is 2K Games and a studio called Ukes. They took it over because back in the late 90s, it was developed by this Japanese team called Akai, who did a Japanese wrestling game called Fire Pro Wrestling or something like that.
I remember Fire Pro.
Yeah. Yuke's isn't as good as Akai was as far as the actual wrestling mechanics, but Yuke's just they've got the flair, they've got the artistry down. Like, I mean, the women look like who they're supposed to look like. Like, if you know WWE at all, Alexa Bliss looks like Alexa Bliss. Braun Strowman looks like Braun Strowman. But I'm not really into today's wrestlers, but they're in there. Like, they almost doubled the polygon count and they doubled the creative suite, which is why the thing's like a whopping 45 gigabytes on your hard drive versus 22 gigabytes. But again, man, to wrap this up, I cannot emphasize enough what a fantastic game WWE 2K19 is. It has its glitches, sadly, but I think it's because they tried to put too much in there. But too much is never anything to complain about. So 2K19, man, I think it's fantastic.
I haven't played a wrestling game since the arcade's WWF with Hulk Hogan and all them in it.
Oh wow, man! Wow.
I've tried on my lads were mad on wrestling games, but I could never work them out. I can't do fighting games anyway. I'm bloody useless at them. But wrestling games, Jesus, you needed a degree in algebra to pull some of those moves off.
Well, you know what wrestling games? It's not about the wrestling is part of it, but it's all about the pageantry.
Yeah,
like I mean, nobody goes into this game saying I'm gonna beat the pants off my opponent. You're just looking at all the pretty colors and the lights and amazed that you're booking WCW Monday Nitro in 2018. It's like, wow, like it's like a time capsule.
Yeah, I think you need to talk to Tom off Respawn Gaming. He loves wrestling as well. He was talking about that the other day. I think you two need to get together and have a chat.
Wow. I remember, and I do remember seeing when they had that sale, and it was $20. And I remember I looked at it on the screen. I was like, wow, you know what? I should go for it. But then I was thinking, like, how often am I going to play it?
Right.
And so I passed on it, but it nagged at me. And now to hear you going on and on about it, I kind of hate that I missed it.
Yeah, you never know when they're going to have these little sales, and when they pop up, it's just like, I said, oh, okay, I'll bite. But, I said, you know what? There's no way it could be better than 2K16, and I'll just have blown basically the price of a pizza, a large pizza.
Right,
but
exactly.
It ended up being a good deal. So, I mean, go Xbox Live in these sales,
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked a few. I'll talk about them in a minute. So go over to Andy. How you doing, buddy? What have you been playing? Well, I know what you've been playing this week, but to let everybody else know.
Have we all finished?
Yes. Yeah. Oh no! Tell me about it.
I was patiently waiting for my segment, and like my shoulders are starting to go, and my leg. I've got pins and needles in my leg. Damn you, Jim. I've been playing mostly all week Anthem, and as of last night, Division 2 beta. It's been an action-packed week for gaming, but mainly those two. And that's about it. Next topic.
But for me, I dipped in the sales yesterday as well. Don't ask me why, but I see a bargain and I have to buy it. So I ended up buying Battleships, Trivial Pursuit, and Monopoly because they were £3 each. So
it's more because you've lost the board games, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just easier to set up. Setting Monopoly up, nightmare. Understanding the rules of Trivial Pursuit, nightmare. Let the Xbox do it. I've also been playing Crackdown 3 and Titanfall 2, and I thought as I bought the game twice now, I might as well play the Division. I mean, if anybody keeps an eye on me on Twitter, you know all about the week I've had with the Microsoft and the Division. You learn some valuable lessons. Don't shop on the Microsoft store when you haven't got your glasses on, because you end up buying what you bought.
Or if you're drunk.
Or if you're drunk. Yeah, right.
Wait, you did it again?
I went pre-ordering the Division 2 Ultimate Edition, and for some reason I bought the Division Gold Edition for £72, I might add, which is the Division first game with the season pass, both of which I already own. Right, the bastards would not refund me because I've already had a refund in the last 12 months.
Right.
2 days later, the bastards put the same game, the same gold edition, down to 12 quid.
Wow.
Because of you, yeah.
Because,
yeah. That's no coincidence. You pissed somebody off.
So nobody can say I've not sort of supported the division, because I bought the first one twice, and I bought the Ultimate Edition for Division 2. I've spent more than enough on that game. I should have my own gold VIP room built into the game.
Microsoft says always forget your glasses.
I mean, I can't argue. I mean, they are very clear, you know, one refund a year, and yeah, fair enough. But when they can see I've already owned the game and the season pass, you'd think they'd allow a little bit of leniency, but
you know what? It's been my experience, and maybe I shouldn't say this live on air, but it's been my experience. It depends on who you wind up talking to. I mean, and that works both ways. I mean, I've run into some folks, that were very understanding, and then some folks were just like, "Buy the book, no," and so it's kind of like playing the slots, I guess. I don't know, but Micro, come on, man, come on. I mean,
I know.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say it, and Andy, you're my boy. I love you. But if Andy were saying this, it would make perfect sense. it just would. I mean, Andy, look.
We are no longer friends.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying. But see, Andy owns his. Look, everybody knows. Andy's just like the most carefree, just like, hey, whatever. I am who I am, and that's just the way it is. But Micro, it's just, I find it very interesting that, because that last time, wasn't that about a month and a half ago?
Yeah, it was about that, yeah.
And for it to happen again so quickly.
Yeah.
Are you like, I don't know, are you doing this on purpose?
Well, I think
underground, some kind of this just seems odd to me.
I think Andy's just a bad influence, and I'm turning into an alcoholic.
Now, see, now I wasn't gonna go there. I take issue with that. Andy, I don't agree with what he just said.
It's all right, I'm just gonna mute.
Anyway, let's get on to this first topic, because it's juicy. It's a juicy one. I know a lot of people have spoken about this already this week, and we wanted to talk about it on the last MicroPod last week, but we didn't get time. But I want to talk about this rumor, this possibility, this rumor that's banging around at the moment, that the Xbox Game Pass might be going to the Nintendo Switch. Now, I know a lot of people have been getting a bit irate about it, and some people are seeing it as a positive, some people are seeing it as a negative. So I'm interested to know what you guys think, and how you see this coming off. Is it real? Is it going to happen? Is it just a rumor that's going to fall flat, and we're going to find out that it's just somebody stirring a little bit and just wanted to try and get the community sort of baited up a little bit? I mean, for me personally, I can't see if they do. I could see it happening. I can see the Game Pass or some form of online service go into the Nintendo Switch. I think there's talk of like a streaming service. It would have to be a streaming service. I mean, the Nintendo Switch couldn't sort of emulate the Xbox, so it would have to be a streaming service. I can't see that big games. I can't see that the big sort of exclusives like Gears and Halo and that would go onto this service, but I can certainly see games that would fit on that system, like Ori and all of those kind of small arcadey games, maybe some of the more third-party games. But I'm not sure if we all see the sort of the AAA exclusives go on that service. I know that Microsoft are looking at this. I mean, people are getting quite irate about it, but I think this is where gaming's going. I mean, I know a lot of us sort of older generation gamers I'm never gonna switch to streaming gaming because I don't.
Hell no.
No chance. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I know if I have a poor TV set, that the input lag from my Xbox to my TV can give me a sort of other gamers that I'm playing. Certainly on like first-person shooters, big online multiplayer games, I get a disadvantage from that input lag from the Xbox to the TV. So to play it from a streaming service through the Xbox and then to a TV, the lag is going to be horrendous. It doesn't matter how good your online broadband speed is going to be, there is going to be lag, and it's going to give you a disadvantage. So I'm never going to switch to streaming game. That's not going to be. I'm always going to want my kit on the desk, and I'm going to do the best. What's the point of having a good broadband speed? If you're going to be streaming a game from a server somewhere, it doesn't make any sense to me. The service, I can see that going to Nintendo. I can't see it going to Sony's PlayStation, though. I think that would be a bit... I can't even see Sony going for that. Can you imagine Sony allowing Xbox games on their system?
Never would.
No, if it's a direct sort of competition with their streaming service, they're not going to allow that. But I could certainly see this relationship growing with Nintendo, and it's been growing for the last sort of 6 to 12 months, I'd say. I mean, what's your thoughts on this, Jago? I mean, what's your thoughts? I mean, do you think the rumor is just a rumor? It's not going to happen, or?
Oh Lord, I kind of got pissed about that. I'm not going to lie. When I first heard it, but I've had some time to reflect on it. Let's be honest, the industry is going in that direction. We all know that as older gamers. We've been around. The days of true console exclusives or exclusivity, let's say, where you have to buy a PlayStation or you have to buy an Xbox, that's all going away. And there's nothing we can do about it because, the industry's moving in that direction. The only thing we can do about it is let our wallet speak. If we don't want to, partake in the all digital, nobody's games are exclusive. We can get out of the gaming hobby, or we just have to accept it and just pick and choose what we choose to put our money towards. But when I first heard it, I was like, okay, that's fine, because Microsoft's going to do what they're going to do anyway, because they're in the business of making money. My thing was, when I heard it, was if some of the Xbox exclusives are going will go to the Switch, I want some Nintendo games on my Xbox.
The other way around.
Because I don't want a fucking underpowered Switch. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm not a mobile gamer. I don't game on my phone. I don't game at work because of what I do. When I come home, that's the only time I game, sitting in my recliner in front of a TV. That's how I grew up, and that's how I game now. I don't give a shit what all these streaming services. I'm not. That's not for me. But if some of Microsoft games are going over there, it's only to be fair for me as an Xbox guy to be able to play some of Nintendo's games on my Xbox, so I don't have to buy a Switch, because I'm not going to buy one. If I want to buy something underpowered in 2019, console-wise, I'll go back and look on eBay and find an Atari Jaguar and buy another one, because I have one of those too. So, that's my thought on it. There's nothing we can do anyway. It's all because kids that are, say 15, 20 now, they grew up, or say 10, 15 now, they grew up playing on iPhones or Androids or tablets, and sooner rather than later, they're going to be the ones, and some already are. They're going to be ones making the decisions of what services and they're going to buy. Yeah, so that's older cats. We're just in the wagon getting taken for a ride. That's all we can do.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with what you're saying, and most of us are. All of us here are sort of old school gaming, and we like to.
I started on the Atari.
Yeah, exactly. The same as myself, the same as E-Rock, and I'm sure Sherman did as well. I think by the time Andy was gaming, Atari was no more.
started with the Jaguar, but I don't know.
Or the Jaguar. Oh, see,
Sorry, what are you talking about?
I was the wooden cabinet Atari 2600.
The Atari Jaguar back in the day. Didn't know if you ever. I think I actually got one when I was 15, and that was when they released. So 41 now. So that tells you it's been a while.
So I mean, I had this discussion with Andy the other day because I mean, I do buy my games digitally, but the only reason I buy them digitally is because I game share with my son, so it saves me half the money now. Instead of having to buy 2 copies of every game, I only have to buy 1. But I still collect physical.
Me too.
Yeah, I still buy OG Xbox games. I still pick up 360 games, and as they go on sale, I'll pick up the physical editions of the games I already own digitally because I like to have the collection. You know, it's just what I do. And it's the same with CDs. I don't like digital music. I like to have my CDs. My car is full of them, and I still like my vinyl, and I still like my Blu-rays. And I'm not going to go unless I'm forced to go to digital completely. That is the only time I'll have to go it because I still like to have my collection. I still like to be able to go to my shelf and I'll play that tonight. And it's just how I am. I'm old fashioned. I mean,
when the future goes all digital, like they sell no more discs, and it's coming. And you know we all know people hate GameStop. I personally love GameStop, but they're in trouble when all this when there's no more like brick and mortar stores to go to. There's like very, very few arcades even left anywhere in the world, and everything's just digital. That is a sad day because that's the end of the gaming era as us older guys knew it, and that's really sad to think about.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, when it does go, will it come back? I mean, when you look at vinyls making a comeback now, everybody loves vinyl, and they're going back to it and preferring that over CDs and things. Certainly in this country, I mean, vinyls had a real resurgence of popularity. Yeah, I mean, people like them. I mean, I always prefer them to CD anyway. I just find they've got a richer sound. But that's my old age showing again. But yeah, no, I mean, I hate mobile gaming. I detest it.
I can't stand it.
Why would you want to play a game that you can't see half the game because you're fucking
exactly
the screen? You can't see it.
I thought the big thing was, I guess probably you guys too, but in America, who had the biggest TV won? Why the fuck am I going to play on a 6.5 inch screen?
We just buy all these like 50-inch 4K TVs to play on a fucking 9-inch iPad.
Can I have a toaster I can play Gears of War on, please?
Oh my god, Jago, you're a star. You're coming on again.
Bring your toaster.
It's true though. I don't care. And the people call us old farts and older. You will be crying when you've got just a 9-inch screen and you're plastering your hand all over it and you can't see what the hell you're doing. How the hell are you supposed to play a game like that?
I cannot get immersed playing a game on a phone or even a tablet. I grew up with a black and white TVs and then color, but they were always bigger than a phone or a tablet. Come on.
Yeah, it's always been about getting the next big screen to have the more immersive experience. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I may be wrong, but I have not found a single game on my iPad that stands anywhere close to what's on the Xbox One or the PlayStation. Any of these consoles, nothing stands out on these. They all seem to be very samey.
Well, let's be honest too. For what the Switch is capable of, most cellular phones are almost at its level. So why would I buy a Switch? That's why I haven't bought one.
I did jump in October, and I had it for about 2 weeks, and I've had to recently get rid of it. I couldn't see the damn screen, let alone bloody play the games. And I must admit, when I went to the store to look at some games to buy, I couldn't find anything I wanted. I ended up buying a game that I've already got twice already, Skyrim and Zelda, and then it was like there's nothing else to buy. I don't want Splatoon. That's just CBB's Call of Duty. So why the hell would I want to play that? So
well, see, I played Nintendo, had Nintendo consoles back in the day, just like you guys did, for its exclusives.
Yeah,
and the third party when the third parties were everywhere too, but. Like now, every third party that game is out there, I can buy on my Xbox and it's going to look the best. So I would love to be able to play Nintendo games, but I'm just not playing them on the Switch. Why? When I should be able to play them if we're going in that direction.
We're going there. Yeah, if we're going that way, it's got to go.
Play them on my
Yeah, it's got to go both ways, hasn't it? I mean, if they're doing some kind of, but who knows? I mean, there's obviously something. There is a relationship building between Microsoft and Nintendo. That's been pretty obvious for a few months, hasn't it? So we'll have to just watch this space and see what happens.
Exactly.
I mean, E-Rock, I mean, what's your thoughts on all this, bud?
Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate.
Yeah,
I gotta agree with our esteemed guest. Like, as an Xbox gamer, what's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, if that's the direction Microsoft's going, did they want to put Game Pass on the Switch and get money? Fine, but you know, these deals, number one, aren't done overnight. Okay,
no.
These deals with Microsoft and Nintendo have been going on for a while with the crossplay. So, you know, as an Xbox fan and as an Xbox guy, who Xbox is my preferred console of choice and my only console because I like my life uncluttered. I'm not a console collector, and I applaud the collectors. I love them, man. There's a video game historian who's got all the consoles in Australia, and he's got a museum built in his house. And you know, I'm all for the collectors, like Hebot. Me, I've got enough stuff in my house, man. I like one TV, one console, one woman, and one brand of ice cream and one brand of beer. Any more than that, and I start forgetting stuff. So I want to know what's in it for me, Microsoft. And when Phil Spencer went to Japan 2 winters ago, and we were wondering what's he doing, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's going over there begging for games and whatever." Well, we found out what was in it for us: Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Jump Force. So you know, all these Japanese games, we found out what was in it for us. Now, whether Xbox guys are going to buy those Japanese games, that's up to them. But you know, if I'm enjoying Kingdom Hearts, you know, I never played a Kingdom Hearts game before. Now getting to Nintendo, you know, like our esteemed guest said, what's in it for me? What's in it for us? One of the reasons why Microsoft is my preferred console of choice is because they don't give me 1 or 2 interactive movies a year and expect me to be happy. They give me Game Pass. We get games with gold. We get to choose whether or not we want EA Access, who basically gave away Ultimate Fighting Championship free. You know, I mean, that those are the perks of paying your $24 every 3 months or your $54 a year or whatever the hell it is for Xbox Live. Those are your perks, is you get overloaded with games on the supposed console that has no games. Now, Xbox Game Pass being on Switch, that benefits Nintendo. That benefits their ecosystem. Okay, what does it do for us? So, like our esteemed guest just said, I want to see Donkey Kong Country. Since Rare used to own part of that IP, I want to see Donkey Kong Country emulated or playable on Xbox Live. I want to see 1 or 2 of the Marios playable. I want some of that history that you Nintendo fans cherish so much on our console. And again, Xbox Game Pass, in whatever form it's in, benefits Nintendo. Who, you know, I know there's this belief that Nintendo's doing so great, and they are doing great. They're doing fantastic. They're doing fantastic catering to their audience who will continue to go out and buy Super Smash Brothers and Splatoon and Yoshi, and then get on Twitter and have the nerve to say anything about Xbox, saying, "Oh, Xbox has no games. We're playing Super Smash Brothers." Yeah. And you were playing Super Smash Brothers in 2010. And you were playing Super Smash Brothers and Zelda in 2004. But what you're not playing is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. You're not playing Kingdom Hearts. You're not playing any of these games like Anthem, these mega blockbusters that you come to expect on these consoles. So Xbox Game Pass being on Nintendo Switch only benefits Nintendo. It benefits Microsoft, I guess, from a financial standpoint, but I can't see Phil Spencer making that deal. The video game business is almost for business executives legal prostitution. You better believe that in order for Microsoft to get all these Japanese games that came this year, Microsoft had to give a little back to these companies, these various companies, Tecmo and Square Enix and Namco Bandai. So Nintendo, you're benefiting from getting Game Pass. What's in it for us? We'd better see Donkey Kong Country or something within a year, or else this deal doesn't help us out at all. So there's nothing I can do about it. Nintendo Switch fans, the very hypocrites who talk crap about Xbox every day, are now backflipping at the idea of playing Gears of War on Switch. I got a newsflash for you: the Switch can't run Gears of War, so temper your expectations. But hopefully, guys, we get something out of this deal. And when I mean we, I mean us, the end user, the end Microsoft users who've been supporting Game Pass since day one. I wouldn't even have known about Game Pass had it not been from one of the most beloved members of this community, Andy Mack, who's here on this podcast, giving me a month free of Game Pass. And I'll never forget him for that, dude. And one of these days, I'm going to pay you back. But Andy Mack's got highfalutin taste. I was going to give him Red Dead Redemption, but he wanted the $100 version of Red Dead Redemption. I said, "Damn you, dude! What do you think you are, a woman?" So we better get something for this micro. I want to see, like our esteemed guest said, I want to see some Nintendo classics on Xbox Live within the year.
Well, if you post that thought on Twitter, and I did.
Yes.
You get all kinds of backlash, like, you're an idiot, just calm down. Microsoft is making money from this. Just chill. It means you'll get more Microsoft games. I'm like, I understand that. What is wrong with you idiots? I understand that. Why is it wrong for me as an Xbox fan to ask in return,
exactly.
even though Microsoft's making money? I got that. That's all. That's old. That's not like a genius to figure that out. Why is it wrong as an Xbox fan to ask for some Nintendo games? But if you put that on Twitter, people they will come at you with pitchforks, man. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, my man, that's like me knocking on your door. You sound like a Southerner. A good day to you, my dude. Listen, that's like me knocking on. That's like me knocking on your door in Mudlick, Kentucky, and asking to borrow your Grey Poupon, and me not giving you anything back. You should get something back, shouldn't you?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And it's only us older gamers who grew up in the generation where pretty much video games died and it didn't. Only us, and we've stuck by this brand. We stuck by Xbox since day one, or we stuck by Sega from day one, or we stuck by Nintendo from day one. Only us guys we're the ones who would be like, or go like me, what we getting in return. I ain't worried about Microsoft's fucking pocketbook. Give me the games. But that is a negative way of thinking if you put it out there on Twitter. You should be happy with it going over there. Now shut the fuck up and sit down. Like, get out of my face. Just make
all I'm gonna say is the thought of Andy being a woman with that beard. Fuck me, that's when I
Hey, I won Eurovision.
The one and only time he was sober.
Probably not, actually. The amount of texts I got that night was like, shut up, man, shut up. That's what I was saying.
Fucking hell. What's your thoughts on this, Andy?
Well, first of all, I can only say that business side of things, it's only going to generate more growth for Microsoft, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
I mean, it's setting up for next gen, really, because let's be honest, the prices of these games are going to get more expensive, and if Nintendo aren't going to be jumping on the bandwagon of a new console, all they've got is services, haven't they? But like everything, you've got I want to. If I want to hand something to somebody, I want something back in return. I want, I want to see Nintendo games on the Xbox in Game Pass.
Yeah,
yeah, I want to see that. There's no excuse for it. We allow too much stuff to be given away for free.
Yes.
For example, PC guys. So it's about time that Microsoft listened to the actual people who stood by the Xbox One from day one.
Yes.
I mean, in the UK, the amount of times we get shafted on deals, you buy this film, we'll give you a free month of Game Pass. Buy a Spider-Man film, get a free months of Game Pass. We get diddly squat in the UK, and it's quite annoying actually. All of these competitions only available to the American market, and that's even when you've got a game that was produced in the UK as well. Like with stuff like that's a joke, to be quite honest. I want to see Microsoft really open up the competitions worldwide. We haven't even got a Halo event in the UK. I don't think we've even got the game in the arcades.
No, we haven't.
If we're gonna, Microsoft need to, if they're gonna give out, they need to bring something back in return. That's my only thoughts on it. Really, it's very beneficial, but at the same time, I want to see some. I want to see something in return for that.
Yes, definitely, most definitely.
And E-Rock, I take gold bullion, mate.
I'm still having nightmares about Andy in a dress singing at Eurovision. I'm never going to get over that. Ever.
Hey, it's all love, Andy. It's all love, man.
To be honest, I don't hear a single word you say anymore, Micro.
All I'm saying is I want the pictures.
You're not going to get any because they don't exist. Do you want me to sing to you?
No.
Take it away, Sherman.
I mean, guys, look at Sony. They don't give away anything, and the media praises them. They praise them for it. They don't give away nothing.
That's true.
Microsoft fans are the only ones that are supposed to be okay with shit being given to our stuff, our games, anything being given taken and put somewhere else, and we're supposed to be okay with it. And at the end of the day, it gets shit on so bad and social media and everywhere. We're the only ones supposed to be okay with this type of practice. You don't see Sony fans having to deal with that or Nintendo fans having to deal with that. So why the fuck should we have to deal with that? We get the most flack, my friend. But everyone is waiting, especially the PC pirates, to accept our games with open arms and then talk crap about it. It's almost unbelievable. Yep.
Yes, that's very true.
It's annoying.
Yeah, and they seem to forget as well. I mean, I mentioned this in a video earlier this week. I mean, these PC guys that keep going on, and what they seem to forget is that they're playing on a Microsoft system anyway, and they forget that they're actually playing on a Microsoft system. And the Xbox and PC are very similar infrastructure. They obviously PCs are more adaptable to other processes. You can do you can type a few letters, you can watch porn. You know what I mean? But if
it wasn't for Microsoft, you PC guys wouldn't have anything but StarCraft, Project Cars. That's all you have Forza Horizon now because of Xbox. You should be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
They're never happy unless they can work around a system and download it illegally. Remember PC Master Race. Which basically means I don't support the gaming industry because I rip them from websites to play for free. We've got like over 100 million console gamers. Nobody knows really how many PC gamers there are because they're playing the games illegally. So many pirate copies. The gaming industry needs console gamers because they actually buy stuff.
Yeah, and we bought it for a proper price as well. I mean,
I'll just say this: all the guys back in the day who were talking shit about Microsoft jumping into the gaming industry, it's like it's never going to work. You're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can go ahead and give Microsoft a round of applause for being successful now, because now you're getting Microsoft on every fucking thing, even the Nintendo Switch supposedly. So you don't see PlayStation doing that. Like I said, you don't see Nintendo doing that. Microsoft is just, it's going in that direction. Like I said, there's nothing we can do about it, but Microsoft is the one that's giving the most. Sony is they're very traditional, and they're not letting go of that tradition just yet, and neither is Nintendo.
Well, I reckon now that, so we already know with some reports, and it looks as if that what Microsoft are doing are only cementing their feet so they can actually progress, whereas companies like Sony and Nintendo, I mean, Nintendo's separate obviously because of the partnership rumor, but Sony, I reckon, if they continue just to put out a few games of AAA quality, and they're obviously not selling to these 90 million customers that they apparently have, that's affecting their business. Whereas opening up the Game Pass for all of these games is not only going to help the game out in sales, but it's actually going to move it forward for everybody else as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think Sony's going to be left behind with all this going on?
I do, because this week Horizon Zero Dawn broke 10 million sales, which is fair play to them. But that was only because of a sale, it would seem. But it's like it's like Phil said, they want to get out there to like the bigger masses. And if you're going to just fixate on a certain install base, that side of the things is just going to go downhill.
10 million sales of a game, you'd have expected more on a system that sold 80 million units, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the same thing with Spider-Man. It didn't sell. That much more than 10 million. And how many consoles are out there?
There's no point bragging. There's no point bragging if you can't back it up.
It's like
game sales as well.
It's like Titanfall 2, though, isn't it? I mean, they cried Mario. Look at the shit that Titanfall got when that went on exclusive to Xbox One.
Exactly.
Yeah, when they brought Titanfall 2 out on Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One version outsold it. Yeah, it's got a much, much bigger install base. So explain that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Preference isn't exclusive, is it?
No.
Like people will buy the game if it's not exclusive more than if something's exclusive, because let's be honest, they don't have the system, and there's the fact that it's not the particular game they wish to play. I mean, we all play different sorts of games on the panel, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. Let's just go to Sherman quickly then, and just find out what his thoughts are on this, and then we can move on to another topic. I mean, where are you with this, Sherman?
Well, I've off and on, I've given this a decent amount of thought, and I tip my hat to everything that has been said so far by everyone here on the panel today, and it's hard to debate in a negative way with anything that anybody has said, because they all hold water extremely well. With that being said, I'm going to take a slightly different approach as to why this is happening. Now it's again, the whole, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is it neutral? Depending on what angle you come at it from, I guess all of them can be valid. Of course, in Microsoft, as far as the big shot decision makers at Microsoft, of course, the bottom line for them is making money, making as much money as they can, any kind of way they can. So, that old adage, hey, it's all about the bottom line. Yeah, I get that. But as far as like you guys have already mentioned, well, what do we get out of it? Well, the issue about if they're going to get if the rumors are true, if they're going to get some of our exclusives, then fair turnarounds, fair play. We should get some of theirs, and that's valid. But I think, and again, like was said, as far as I think E-Rock mentioned, when Phil a couple of years ago, it seemed like it was about at least 6 months he was hanging out in Japan, wheeling and dealing, things like that. And I agree with you, E-Rock, 100%. Things like that usually don't. It's rare for the deal to wind up just being totally one-sided. So again, I agree with what has been said so far, and normally there wouldn't be much to add to it. But again, I'm gonna just look at this a little different. Why, outside of what's obvious, why would Microsoft be, diving head first into this? So in thinking about it, I'm just, and I could be wrong, but be interesting if I'm right. Number one, I think if you look at it from the Nintendo exclusives, that has already been mentioned. Of course, there's the cross-play deal that's been going on. I mean, Nintendo was really the first one to get on board with the whole cross-play partnership thing. If you take just those two things and then look at the bigger picture, and that's, at the end of the day, the big picture beyond money, which actually still ties into it. And this might be a bit radical, but just bear with me. It would not surprise me. I'm not saying that it would be announced this year at E3, although that would just be totally earth-shaking if they did. But what if the whole point behind Phil hanging out in Japan for months at a time and all this, little trickle here, oh, well, this rumor with Nintendo, that rumor with Nintendo, et cetera, what if, let's just suppose for a second, what if the next acquisition would be Microsoft purchasing Nintendo?
Oh, I've thought about that too. That's interesting.
I mean, think about that for a second. Now, it would automatically solve a lot of the issues that have been previously mentioned so far. Mm-hmm. It would guarantee that Nintendo exclusive would become part of the Microsoft ecosystem. If that were to take place, well, it would instantly broaden Microsoft's audience, the demographic. Because let's be honest, Nintendo has the quote-unquote preteen audience locked up. They've had that locked up for decades.
Yeah.
And even when those preteens become adults and they start having kids, it's like, whoa, Nintendo was what I grew up with. Nintendo was what I was playing when I was your age. Well, yeah, it's almost as if Nintendo is the starter system for video games.
Yeah.
So if that were to take place, well, you got this broadened audience, the kiddie audience, if you will, that Microsoft would automatically have unfettered access to. Number three, Nintendo, if this were to take place, Nintendo could effectively become the mobile gaming division for Microsoft because I mean, again, uh, even though you don't hear too much about it anymore, from what I understand, it still sells reasonably well, and that's the Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah.
People are still buying that thing. It's amazing to me why, because with mobile gaming on phones now, but even with mobile gaming on phones, there's also been some rumors that have been floating around for a couple of years that Nintendo is planning to push heavily into the mobile phone gaming market. So, if that's the case, then that would be an added portfolio for Microsoft if they were to purchase Nintendo outright, because as we all famously know, Microsoft sadly failed miserably in the mobile phone market. So, you know what? If Nintendo wants to go down that road, well, Microsoft go, hey, no skin off of our back. If that's what you want to do, I mean, yeah, you're under our umbrella now, but still, we're going to let you do what you know how to do. And if you love Nintendo, if you hate Nintendo, the one thing you have to give Nintendo credit for is that they know how to do mobile gaming because, again, with the 3DS, I think I read somewhere, and this was years ago, that total sales for the 3DS is somewhere close to like 300 million. So, you got 300 million active 3DS units that have been sold worldwide. And so if you look at it from the standpoint of the Switch, fast forward to the Switch, yeah, okay, you can hook it up to your television. Yeah, but the main reason people get a Switch is for gaming on the go.
Yep.
So, again, the whole mobile gaming division for Microsoft applies there. Now, another thing to look at. You guys do realize that over the past, really since the fall, there has been, and I don't know the exact number, but there have been more than a few. I'm tempted to say an employee exchange program. As far as executives, you've had more than a few. You've had a respectable amount of employees that used to work at Nintendo. They're at Microsoft now.
Yep.
Now I don't know if there have been Microsoft employees that have been going over to Nintendo. But wouldn't it be interesting if that's the case? Because if so, then that kind of makes my theory a bit more valid that, okay, something's coming down the pipe. And it could be something big. And by big, that would be Nintendo joining the ranks with Microsoft on an official basis where Microsoft just purchased them. Because keep this in mind. If there's any company on the planet who could do it, it would be Microsoft.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Microsoft's pockets are so doggone deep that they could, honestly, if Microsoft wanted to buy General Motors, they probably could.
Yeah, probably.
So the simple fact that you've got employees, mainly from Nintendo, since the fall of last year, showing up at Microsoft, that kind of leads a little bit of credence to my theory here. So there's that indicator. Now another positive where if this were to take place, you guys have already mentioned about the situation with Rare and how Rare initially was an exclusive partner with Nintendo. Well, Microsoft, however long ago it was, bought Rare outright. Well, they bought Rare, and Rare also came with a lot of their IP.
Yep.
But what's their main IP? that didn't show up when they got bought by Microsoft? Say it with me now.
Donkey Kong. Oh, GoldenEye.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. People have been crying, myself included. Like, when are we going to get an all new GoldenEye? Can you imagine if Nintendo became if they were owned by Microsoft, then that would free up Rare, because legally Rare can't do it, and for some strange reason Nintendo has said that they're not going to do it. Probably, and why screw up a valued property like that? But if Rare was granted access to give us an all new version, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that right there would be worth buying Nintendo just for an all new GoldenEye. So that all those things is why I'm leaning in that direction, because Microsoft has, and especially Phil, Big Phil has all but said that, yeah, well, you know what? We're not done with these acquisitions. I mean, just think about that for a second. Can you imagine the shockwaves if it was made official, if they made this announcement that Microsoft and Nintendo are now part of the same family? I mean,
didn't Nintendo's new president come out not too long ago and say their focus wasn't like really going to be on hardware anymore? So kind of ties into
yes, he did.
He did.
He did. And then it's no secret that Phil and Reggie are really good friends. So Reggie, he's on his way out, so he could very easily have been facilitating, oh, yeah, you know what, I'll put you in touch with the right people, or blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's a stretch, I know, but I don't think it's too unrealistic. I just don't. To me, it would be a really good thing, and it would alleviate a lot of the concerns that people have. Of course, there would be haters. There's always going to be haters. Your diehard Nintendites, I call them, who are just going to be like, no, the world is coming to an end. Why? No. But at the end of the day, I mean, it would alleviate a lot of pressure off of Microsoft. It just really would. I mean, they wouldn't even have to change the name. The company could still be called Nintendo. It would just be a division of Microsoft.
Just change the name. Quit.
What? Hey, is Sherman out here still spreading educated lies? Is that what you're doing, Sherman?
Hey, tell it.
Sherman,
we'll buy a mistake. We'll fly and buy a mistake.
Man, let me tell you, very educated thought, but I don't know. Nintendo inside the deep pockets, deep in the trenches. Those Japanese dudes are real old-fashioned. I don't know. Let's see.
I just want the Switch to be called the Xbox.
I can see that.
Listen,
Jago, you got a good point. I can see that.
All I can say is, Sherman, not to cut you off, I just wanted to come in here and say hi to my brothers, my family. I'm fashionably late, about an hour to be at the party, but I'm still doing runs, so I figured I'd say hello.
It's good that you can join us, buddy.
Well, I figured I'd say hello, wish you guys the best for the rest of the show. I've been listening. And to Sherman's point, I just think if Nintendo and Microsoft did a partnership, it would be a very dangerous duo, and it would be a problem in the industry. But it all depends on Nintendo if they want to play ball. I know Microsoft will probably do it, but I don't know if Nintendo's all in. But if they do, you might not see a Mario, but you might see Bayonetta. You might see, Devil's Third, things that third-party exclusives that they have, which I'm all for it, because I would love to play Bayonetta on the X. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
That's my small thought. Guys, I love you. I'm going to get out of here. I got to run, all right?
All right, mate.
Thank Thanks for
Hey,
popping
Jago,
in,
nice
brother.
to see you, brother. Jago, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, brother.
Take care, buddy. Right, I think we'll move on to our next topic now, then, because this is another hot potato that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and it's about reviews. This is going to be an interesting one.
Oh, man.
This is
Let me
going
go
to
get a drink of water.
Yeah. We've got to keep the show short tonight, Shuman. We've got to keep it short. Don't have too much water.
All right. Well, then peace. Well, peace. I'm out.
No, I'm just interested to know what people in the panel think, what people in the chat think of reviews. And are we at a time now where reviews have become irrelevant? We've got to a time now where reviewers have preferred platforms, they have preferred gamer types, and reviews, in my opinion, are far less relevant than they used to be. And nowadays, it seems to be more about how much they can hate on a game or how much they can hate on a movie. And that seems to be the in thing now. It's all about hate. I mean, we get hate for games and for films. We were talking about this the other day on the Microfilm podcast with E-Rock and Hebot, where films that are only just announced, they're not even in pre-production yet, are getting hate before they've even filmed a scene. And this seems to be the way with games now. Reviewers seem to be very hate obsessed, and they seem to be very I don't know, they seem to have the things that they like, and they will go completely against anything else that they don't feel is relevant, and that's something that they don't like personally. And are we really that weak-minded nowadays that we need somebody to tell us whether a game is good or whether a game is bad or whether a film is good or a film is bad? I mean, I come from an era where we had video stores and you could rent movies and do all that sort of thing. You can't do that so much nowadays.
Peace, Blockbuster.
All that sort of thing's gone, isn't it? And like, we were talking about games the other day. You walk into a store and you'd have a look at the back of a game and you decide whether you liked it. You didn't have somebody tell you whether that game was good or not. And sometimes you might buy a bad game. Sometimes you would buy a real good game. And I don't, I'm sure I'm like everybody in the panel and everybody in the chat where we all like different things. I mean, we all do like different things. We like different music. We like different movies, different games. Do we really need somebody now in this day and age to tell us what a good game is or what a good game, what a good movie is, or, we're past all that. Do we really need it? Because my personal opinion is I think it's been irrelevant for years.
Yeah.
I don't need somebody to tell me whether a game's good or bad. I will play it and I'll make up my own mind up. And there have been some games that I've bought that have been to Detroit that have had really good reviews, and there have been games that I've bought that have had bad reviews that I've really enjoyed. Crackdown 3 being a example. It is personal choice at the end of the day. Everybody has an opinion, but not everybody's opinion is correct for us personally. So yeah, my personal opinion is reviews are irrelevant. They should be called reviews. They should be called opinion pieces, because that's all. There's somebody's personal opinion. So, I mean, Jago, what's your thoughts on this, man? I mean, you've seen this as much as we all have over the last few years, and the way the hate is going on everything these days. Hate is cool. It's cool to hate.
It is, but I totally agree with you. And another game that got, just because you said Crackdown 3, terrible game. It's a blast to play. So the review score doesn't really matter. Enslaved, Odyssey to the West was phenomenal, and that game it didn't sell very well. So that's one game just off the top of my head. It just popped in my head when you said it.
Wait,
I love that game. I would look Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. Ninja Theory did it.
Yes, yeah, great game.
I love that game.
Yeah.
Review. Oh God, review. Gaming journalism is irrelevant. Has been irrelevant to me, and it's never been really relevant to me ever. Back in the day when we were younger, we got and when we got the EGMs and the Game Pros and all those magazines, those were finished games that they were reviewing and putting, doing the article on inside those magazines.
Yeah.
And that was to me, that was true journalism or true gaming journalism. It wasn't. It didn't feel like an opinion. Nowadays, like you said, games get reviewed before even, because there's always day one patches. So games get reviewed before the damn day one patch is even released. So it means it's not finished. They can say it went gold all they want to, but until the day one patch is installed, it's not finished. Because games with the invention of the internet has changed the way we game. Back in the day, like you said, we would buy some games that would be great or buy some games that would be shit. But that was just,
that was gaming.
It was gaming. That was the luck of the draw. We've lost that. We've lost, but I'm trying to save you money. We've lost that. It just feels like to me that it's because, let's be honest, they put the articles out there. Everybody wants to put the first
get it out the quickest.
Yes, for any game, and that gets them clicks on their site, which makes them money, and that's all it feels like to me. And a lot of times, like you said, it feels like more so of an opinion. It's more of an opinion review than an actual game review. It just, I don't know. It irks me. I like I said, I've never really. I used to read the magazines. I still get Game Informer from GameStop, and I don't get it digitally. I get it, the hard or the magazine. I always perused the magazines back in the day to see what was coming, because we didn't have the internet, and see what the game reviewer he gave, and see if see if I was interested. But it didn't feel like he was trying to steer us in one direction or another with this certain game review. Nowadays, it seems like it's popular to, especially if it's a Microsoft game, because let's be honest, it does look that way most times. It seems like it seems like they're trying to skew you into going to buy it for the PlayStation, or just not buy at all if it's a Microsoft game. So game reviews are a joke. Gaming journalism nowadays is a fucking joke, and if you put Metacritic is a fucking joke. Let's be honest. If you put 2 cents, if you put any stock in anything any game reviewer says about a game that you're interested in, and you keep that, you let that review or that opinion piece keep you from buying that game, you're sheep. And you don't need to be playing video games to start with if you let somebody else's opinion. I mean, and they're not even game reviews. It's like anybody, like your buddy, like, yeah, shit. Well, let me make my mind up. I'll purchase it, because Supersonic Station, he, I love him to death, but he's like, don't buy Anthem. It's EA. Like, I don't give a shit. I want to get Anthem. I'm going to get it. I don't care. Yes. Because we all play different games. But yeah, if you're a true video game fan and you let opinion pieces, which is what I'll say they are, sway you on to whether to buy a certain game or not, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I've heard that a lot, actually, that Anthem, a lot of people are boycotting it because it's EA. I mean, that's no reason to boycott a game. I mean, people have put a lot of time and effort into these games, and just because it's published by EA doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's just that seems stupid. But yeah, no, I mean, we come from a generation where we had the magazines and we had the discs on. I mean, most of my decisions for gaming has always been through trailers or through demos in the older days. I mean, we don't get demos.
Demo disc.
Yeah, I mean, we used to always get them. I mean, I used to get the original Xbox magazine because it always got
me too.
Yeah, it always had the disc on there. You'd always have 4 or 5 demos for games coming out, and they were all good. I mean, they were great, and it was like a free mini game as well. It was awesome.
It was.
But you could make your own opinion from that, and I think maybe they need to bring back a few more demos, and certainly from trailers, you get a good idea of what's going on from demos. And probably the best way to get an idea of a game really is watching a gameplay video.
I don't think that in 2019, the IGNs, the Twitch streamers, call me, because Noof Nukem, you guys know who he is.
Yes,
he calls himself a dinosaur. Call me a dinosaur, but I don't think streamers and IGN should be getting any review copies of an unfinished game to review and put it out to the masses.
No, they shouldn't be reviewing unfinished games. I mean, they didn't even have the Wrecking Zone, did they, to review? And they were still, they still scored a game when they hadn't even played the multiplayer part of it.
They did a review on Crackdown, and I can't think of his name, but it was like, I didn't really like it. I only played it for he only played it for like an hour or whatever it was. How in the hell? And I don't want to get Crackdown, talk started. How in the hell can you not have fun in that game? It just blows my mind.
No, I mean, I picked it up to play for half an hour before I went to bed. I ended up having a late night. And I shouldn't have done, but I couldn't put the game down because it's just so much fun to play. And if we've got to the day in gaming where a game like that is not fun to play and it's a low score, then gaming really is in trouble. It really is.
I'll say this because I heard the indie gamer, I think it was a Breakfast with Boom yesterday. I think for indie games, I heard his take on indie games, like, reviews for those are, you can probably trust reviews for indie games more so than you can for AAA titles, because there's always money to be made in every aspect of the gaming industry off of a AAA title. Everybody wants the clicks, everybody wants the views, but indie games don't get all that, that attention. So people are not, when somebody like, what was it, that game that's in the game this year that got like it was like a side scroller. Everybody was talking about it. I can't remember the name of it. And everybody was like, oh, it's so good. But anyway, there's not that much, when somebody's reviewing an indie game, it's not a lot of times for like clickbait or on the most popular website, let's say, you know what I'm saying? So it's not going to be a money making thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like for indie games, it's a more honest review, more of a game review than just an opinion piece.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well, Dean's brought up a good good memory. Demo tapes, the old cassette tapes on them. God, that's so far back we go.
Celeste, Indy, it was like an action side scroller. Everybody was talking about it. It was like so good. I think Salty did a review on it.
Was it Indie Gamers Pet Up? Was it Celeste?
No, it wasn't Celeste. It was more of an action one. I can't remember the name of it now. I think Salty did one. Salty loved it.
Was it like a running gun?
Yeah, something like that. It's not that old.
It wasn't. Was it Guns Going Cannoli too?
No. Everybody. Oh God, I wish I could think of it right now. Tell me what. Dead Cells. Yes, Indy. Yes, Dead Cells.
There you go.
Yeah. And everybody I heard talk about that game said it was phenomenal. And I mean, I have heard nobody, and what the review I read of it. They said they said it was a good game, and everybody I've heard talk about the game said it was a good game. So, my point.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a time now where you've got companies like IGN. I mean, we've mentioned this before on the MicroPod anyway, but we've got IGN plagiarizing reviews because they can't even be asked to do them. And they're reviewing games like Apex Legends and then changing their score because they can see it's becoming a huge success.
But it's popular. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they change it, from a poor review to a better review over a 24-hour.
Just to get people to read their review.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Let's go over to E-Rock. I mean, what's your thoughts on reviews, mate? Do you think they're still relevant?
I mean, my thoughts on it. I mean, I don't think they're relevant anymore, but the problem is that people, especially here in North America, people are tribal, and they need to plant their flag on a mountain. And in the video game culture of today, that mountain that they're planting their flag on is Metacritic. Okay? Despite the fact that Metacritic now, which is a review aggregate, is ran by, not ran by, but it's being controlled by the fanboys. Mm-hmm. The fanboys of certain brands, whether they work for IGN or these various blog sites that you've never heard of, they're the ones that are doing these reviews. And they're the ones, I literally heard one reviewer say, well, I couldn't get that much time in Crackdown. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10 because I got so many more games to review. And it's like, dude, you got what? Like, come again? You literally let that come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So there's no credibility anymore. And the opponents against are saying, well, there's only no credibility because they're not giving your game an 8 out of 10. And the thing is, you guys just said that how a game got its review changed. A game got its review changed because it became popular. This is what we're dealing with now. Video game journalism is dead. Listen, I got into YouTube back in 2015 because I always wanted to be I got drawn in because I used to be a fan of a certain famous podcast out there. I'm not going to get those guys any more play than they deserve. But
the shameless should remain nameless.
Yeah. But there was a video game reviewer that I saw in 2011 on YouTube named Solid Rev, and all he did was shoot videos out of his living room. He still shoots videos out of his living room, and a wife beater and a Chevy truck hat. So I mean, he's made a career out of that. But most of us got into this because of Adam Sessler from X-Play. Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Wow.
They were the go-tos for video game journalism.
Haven't heard those names in a while.
They played games. They reviewed games based on their merit, and they were not a particular fan of any one console. The problem with video game reviewers now is that, as Micro just so eloquently said, and as you guys were alluding to, people need a mountain to plant their flag on, and it's human nature. And it's a weakness, I think, inherent, mostly here in America, that most Americans tend to plant their flag on what's popular, the popular opinion. I think it's just a weakness in our society. And when is this going to end in video game journalism? To make it truly irrelevant, it's going to end when full exposure happens. Like in the movie reviewing world, what just happened with Rotten Tomatoes, which is a huge story. That unless you've been sleeping under a rock, Rotten Tomatoes has just been exposed after 4 years of shady reviewing practices. That I was the first one to point out. Well, not the first, but I pointed it out back in 2016. 2016 was the year that Rotten Tomatoes really came under question for a certain big superhero film getting a 26% and a very awful Ghostbusters film getting a 76%, and we were all like, what the hell? So suddenly we started hearing terms we never heard before. Micro and our distinguished guest, we started hearing terms we never heard before, like review bombing. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I didn't know that certain blog sites and certain aggregated reviewers can just bomb a video game or a movie because it's not from their favorite brand, or it's a brand that they dislike, or they want to see the other team win. And I know what you guys are saying. Well, that's unethical. There is no ethics when there's no journalistic credibility. So Rotten Tomatoes has been exposed, the site itself, trying to rig pre-review scores for Captain Marvel. They've been caught. It's out there now. It's out there. So you can no longer look at Rotten Tomatoes as a credible review aggregate. So it's only a matter of time before they expose Metacritic and once again, the Rotten Tomatoes incident is singular in that the site itself has tried to control an incoming anticipation score. We've never seen this before, but we do now know that reviewers themselves figured out a long time ago, Sherm, they figured out a long time ago that a certain number of bad reviews can lower the aggregate and take a movie. So it's not too hard to believe or fathom that the people who are aggregated, counted reviewers on Metacritic figured out a long time ago that if they give Crackdown or any Xbox game a certain number of negative reviews, it lowers the score. So, you can call me a conspiracy theorist. You can call me whatever you want. But with Rotten Tomatoes finally being exposed, finally, and I don't want to get off the subject, but Battle Angel Alita, Venom, Batman versus Superman has been vindicated. It's been vindicated. It's over. It's done. So I don't know how long it's going to take for Crackdown and all these other games and Anthem to be vindicated. But to answer Micro's question, I don't think video game reviews and these review sites are credible anymore. I don't think we should be listening to them. because journalism died a long time ago. It died a long time ago. And I think it died on that same mountain with Adam Sessler when he left the industry because he was sick of all the bullshit. It died when Morgan Webb disappeared. It died in movies when the major voice for reviews stopped being Peter Travers from Rolling Stone and Richard Roper from the Chicago Sun-Times and became some jabroni writing for comicbook.com.
Right.
Like, dude, who are you? So, you know, and as far as American society and video gaming society, no, Micro, they're not going to give up on Metacritic, even if it's exposed, because, again, they need a flag to plant on their little mountain because their brand is winning. And it all goes back to what a famous journalist and a famous newspaper man and newspaper mogul back in the early 20th century named William Randolph Hearst, who he owned a lot of newspapers. And a fictional movie was based on him called Citizen Kane. William Randolph Hearst said, listen, his people said, look, what are you going to do? You're going to start a war down in South America? What about the people? William Randolph Hearst controlled the newspapers, Micro and Sherman. He said, the people will believe what we tell them to believe.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't laughing at you, E-Rock. I was laughing at DJ Singh in the chat. He said, every dumb bimbo can be a reviewer now.
Yeah. So what can you believe anymore? So no, I don't think we should pay attention to reviews anymore because the reviews are being written by people like me. That's scary.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I mean, what is any different to you writing it to somebody at IGN writing it? Nobody is any more, and nobody's opinion is less or more important than anybody else's opinion. Yeah. You know, and we were talking about this. We talked about Rotten Tomatoes on the microphone, didn't we, the other day, Rob? But
I've never gave a shit about Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to go and put that out there. I've never gave them any credibility.
Any website that can be altered by fanboys who like a specific brand or a specific movie. You cannot take it seriously, and it's the same with Amazon reviews. I mean, if you go and look at Amazon reviews, they're a joke as well on some things. It's ridiculous that people can go on there and just give anything a shit score that they haven't got just because they don't like that particular brand. Anything that could be manipulated like that is ridiculous.
I heard Venom sucked through through every outlet in the world. I watched Venom. I absolutely loved Venom.
Yeah,
and it didn't need fucking Spider-Man. I'm sorry.
No. Do you know what? It's weird
because you know what he did? He made an educated choice on his own without being told what to do. Go figure.
Yeah.
Because I always loved Venom as a character as a kid. Yeah. And I watched Venom because I wanted to watch it. Damn what these so-called reviewers said, and I actually enjoyed the movie. Was it the best movie I've ever seen? Of course not. But was it what they were saying, how bad it was saying? Did they say what they were saying, how bad it was? No, hell no. No.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as I say, I mean, we were talking about it the other day. I mean, look at Bohemian Rhapsody. Got horrendous reviews, but just come off winning 4 Oscars, and I absolutely love the film. I haven't spoken to anybody that's watched Venom or Bohemian Rhapsody that have felt that those films were shit. A lot of people tell me that Bohemian Rhapsody was their movie of last year. It was their favourite movie of last year, hands down. But it got bad reviews, you know.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing a lot of the people that I'll say a lot, but some of the people that reviewed Bohemian Rhapsody don't even know what the hell it was about.
They're probably not even old enough to know who Freddie Mercury is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They probably thought it was gangster rap.
Yeah, they're probably going in there expecting to see some kind of some film about a bloody crash or something, a babysitting service.
I thought 50 Cent was supposed to be in this movie.
It's an alternative universe where Biggie's whole shit's Tupac.
Oh Jesus!
You should always trust your instincts because most times they won't steer you in the wrong direction. Choose what movie you want to watch for yourself. Buy what game you want to buy that you're actually excited about.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Exactly. I mean, I was saying the other day, people in my country think EastEnders and Coronation Street are amazing. I think they're the biggest load of shit put on TV, but people love them. People sit down every night and watch them.
EastEnders is such a farce, right? You're telling me a Cockney's not going to swear in that show?
Exactly. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. But I mean, what's your thoughts on it, Andy? I mean, where do you go for this? Do you like EastEnders?
No, I don't even know when it's on. I mean, for me, reviews have always been irrelevant because all I want to see is basically a write-up about just a basic write-up about the story. What can you expect to play in the game? What's like, for instance, the Division 2, you go into that and it tells you can do this, this, and this. It's like, yeah, those boxes are ticks. And then you just look at gameplay to really think. I'll say it again, actually. To cement your interest in the game. You see how it plays, and those two things are more important than reading someone's review. Because let's be honest, now reviews are all about taking a massive dump. All the time you see people taking dumps on games. I mean, streaming, for instance, Sea of Thieves is doing more for the game than the actual reviews. Because people can see people having fun.
Yep.
And obviously, you can only read so much. And after a while, pretty much everyone now with YouTube videos are doing the same critical gaming review, right? And, some people even criticize new games coming onto a mobile platform and they haven't even played the other games. It's just like, too many critics, not enough gamers.
Yeah.
Journalism with gaming is it's all about generating clicks and, like you say, selling stuff for IGN, getting people to come to your page, making yourself popular on Twitter and YouTube.
Exactly.
And to be honest, the more you read these reviews, all they do is just influence you into not buying the game.
Yeah.
There's more reviews taking shits on games than there is of reviews actually telling you how good it is. Like, take Anthem, for instance. There's one person on Twitter this week was more obsessed with how the game was published by EA than actually realizing that the game's a good laugh to play with friends. It's really fun. I mean, you can literally be your own Iron Man. You can literally shoot the shit, pretty much do all that.
Yep.
The people playing these games and enjoying it are the ones you should be listening to, not all this nitpicking crap. I mean, there's a guy on Twitter this week making points about the NPCs and how you can actually converse with different conversations, right? And just because they don't mean anything to like the story, which in fact the NPCs in the 4th part of Anthem are there just to add a little extra to the game story, because you're fighting for a community rather than just fighting for a storyline. You take time to like read all these people's thoughts and talk to them, and it actually does benefit you in the game by unlocking all these like level 1 sections. Like there's one for Sentinel. If you go talk to the Sentinel, they'll give you Sentinel points, and then you can unlock stuff later on. That's all it comes down to now. Too many critics, not enough gamers.
Yeah.
Anthem is a lot deeper than what people are giving it credit for, because they're discrediting. I can't even say it right now. They're not giving the game its due justice.
No,
they're not putting in the time to actually beat the game and try to absorb the story, and like you said, talk to the NPCs. All they're doing is it's all about the negativity, the slight rubber banding or the load screens. I mean, Christ almighty, how many bad games have we played through in our lifetime, and Anthem is nowhere close to that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Christ almighty, I remember buying an Atari game on the Xbox 360 that I couldn't even get past the opening screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could not get past the start bit to get onto the game. It was that bugged. You know? So, I mean, and that got a 7 out of 10, that game. That was pretty incredible. I had to review a game that you can't even play, but there you go.
I don't even give scores because, let's be honest, we're all individuals.
Yes.
Just because one person gives it a 5, or say a small number of people give it a 5, it's not a reflection of the game at all.
No.
But the thing is, there are certainly on YouTube. There's a lot of outlets for game reviews, and you can find some really good outlets. The ones that you don't want to go to are the mainstream ones, the ones that are just going for clicks. You need to go to the proper. Like the one that was plagiarized by IGN. I mean, he did a good review, didn't he? It was that good. IGN decided to employ him without him realizing it.
If you find a good, or you find somebody that you trust to review a game that you feel doesn't do clickbait shit, and he reviews the same way you do, or he scores it the same way you do, follow him or keep track of him. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like he's being honest and not a clickbait thing, watch those guys.
Yes.
Don't go to the IGNs or your Joe Schmo down the street who's given the review from his apartment and because he phones his work in. You know what I'm saying? And he can't get past the Cuphead tutorial.
Yes, exactly.
The thing as well, right? You've got people reviewing games. Do we know what they're going to score? What the criteria is to score these games on? Because you look at games like Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3. They haven't got a realistic art style, and it seems to be like if you haven't got a realistic art style, it's a low score straight away with some of these people.
Yeah.
It's like they don't acknowledge the different art styles. They don't appreciate them. And there's so much more to gaming now than just an art style and realistic mocap graphics. I mean, for instance, take last night. We played Division 2, and after a while the sound went, and it totally ruined the game.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah. And, like on Friday when me and Jago were playing Devil May Cry and the fight music comes on when we're fighting some demons, right? That really plays a massive part to the actual gameplay and the fun.
Yep.
And it's also a really good band playing as well. But this sort of stuff never gets picked up when you hear people reviewing stuff on YouTube. They never really talk about the music. It's all about time scale. For instance, Sea of Thieves actually researched old sea shanty songs, etc. Learned to play all these different instruments. The guy actually told you on the what's it, Inside Xbox show.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like that takes time.
I'm gonna tell you one.
It's totally overlooked.
I was really impressed because I jumped off last week to play Anthem. I didn't know you guys went for like another hour, but I went back. Went back and listened to the rest of the show, and I didn't hear Hebot's take on Crackdown 3. I went and heard him, and I was like, holy shit! When I'm playing a game, I'm having so much fun most time. I don't notice everything. He noticed like all these small nuances of like the people talking and I know he gets some hate on Twitter, but good God, if you want to talk to somebody who really like will dive deep and break down and like be honest about a game, Hebot would be the one to talk to. Yeah. If it's shit, it's shit. But if it's good, he'll tell you it's good, and he'll tell you why it's good, and he'll give you 100 points of why it's good and what you should pay attention to. It really impressed me. I was like, holy shit, Hebot.
those points he makes, though, right? They're spot on.
Yeah, they are.
And they just people hear it and they go, "Oh no, it's really good." It's like what you're looking at, like the character model. Look at the entire game.
Yeah.
Everything he told me about God of War, right? When I played it at my mates in Canada, right, I did pretty much everything that he said. Like, for instance, if you see 3 characters on this, or 4 characters on the screen. Only 3 of them will fight if like 3 of them are actually appearing on the screen. So I just turned the camera so all 3 people would like attack me. You know, what was really funny was you play on normal, and there's one enemy in there that's probably way more powerful than the bosses. It's like, what the hell?
I don't believe this. I don't believe this as well. We're doing a professional podcast here, and my eldest son is trolling me in the comment section. What's going on? What is going on? This is what I have to pull up with it.
What you should do is make him pay for the Wi-Fi. All of his devices out of the
Wi-Fi. Oh my god, he's a bugger. He's a bugger, but it's good to see him in the comment section anyway.
Tell him to get a job.
He's got a job. He's got a job. You can't say that. Goodness sake.
Yeah, you can. He should be at the pub, mate. That's where he should be.
That's a good point, actually. What is it? Saturday, 10 o'clock, and he's in listening to us old bastards talking gaming. Right.
The only thing he should be watching is something like Pornhub or something, shouldn't he?
You can't say shit like that. He's not got a PlayStation. He can't. Anyway, we're gonna have to hand over to Sherman now and see what his thoughts are. And then we'll see if we can get one more topic in before we have to finish tonight. So, Sherman, if you can try and keep it brief, we might get another topic in.
Yeah, I'll make it as brief as I possibly can. This is a very interesting topic, by the way. And again, everything that everybody has said is 100% spot on. You know, it's interesting. And again, just to add a slightly different dynamic, just slightly. A couple weeks ago, last week, was, and again, playing Crackdown, and was also on YouTube. And just like you said, the big sites, of course, everybody's hating. But again, not just Crackdown. Of course, Crackdown is one of the bigger ones. But you know, the IGNs, the GameSpots, and all the major outlets just hating on it seems like mostly as of late AAA games. So it's like that's the thing now. And yeah, the whole clickbaiting issue. Yeah, more clicks equals more revenue, blah, 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 which has already been stated. That's why it just makes more sense to go with the smaller guys. Yeah. Smaller outlets. You just basically the chances of you getting an unbiased, honest, more informative review is a lot greater than the so-called established sites, which sadly you would think it would be the other way around.
Yep, exactly.
And that's it's sad when you get so big that you basically sell yourself out, which you know, it's unfortunate, but that just seems to be the case. But to my original point, about a week or so ago, when I was watching some YouTube videos, and you know how you got the banner, and then you see all on the right side of the screen all the different related content to whatever it is you're watching, and on the right side of the screen is just, you know, Crackdown sucks, they screwed up Anthem, you know, blah blah. I mean, just all the way down. And so I just verbally, because I'm in the room and I'm looking at it, and I just verbally just said, you know, what's up with all these reviews? It's garbage. And my wife, Kelly, she says, now keep in mind, Kelly's not a gamer. She's not a gamer. So she was like, well, what are you talking about? So I just briefly told her, like, you know what? It's like all these reviews. I mean, the people reviewing these games, do they really put in the time and effort to come up with a legitimate review. And she said something to me that has just like been sitting in my mind ever since. She goes, well, you know, the people that are, you know, taking a dump on these reviews, you know, they've probably been paid by the competition. And so, you know, I looked at her kind of weird because, again, she's not a gamer. So I just asked him, like, well, wait, what are you basing that on? What do you know about that? Now, Kelly is not in the game, but Kelly is into purses. She knows her designer purses. That's her obsession. And she basically broke down the whole designer purse industry. And just like there are reviewers for games, that industry also has reviewers. And she just kind of, you know, just gave me the inside scoop on how the industries, when it comes to reviewing, how it's kind of intertwined, not officially, but the way she broke it down to me, I'm thinking like, well, dang, this sounds like the gaming industry. And to the point where it had been discovered that there are certain like high profile reviewers, you know, in the handbag industry who got busted for, like, you know, say if Louis Vuitton comes out with a new line of purses or carry-all handbags or whatever, how reviewers who it had been discovered for, like, say Chanel or Coach or whatever, you know, they're like poo-pooing on the new Louis bag, and then they got busted, and it turned out that, you know, they've been paid by the competition. Well, so she's like, yeah, you know, they've probably been paid by the competition. So such and such review that you're talking about, I mean, if this game is coming out from Microsoft, well, Sony probably paid the reviewers to, like, write up a negative spot on them or whatever. And it just really stood out to me that, wait a minute, but she's not even in the game, but then she can even see it. So, and again, it's like, for the area of just getting clicks, because clicks equal money. And sadly, negativity is more popular than positivity.
Yes.
So, and again, we're talking about games here, but it seems like with whatever the industry is, that unfortunately that theory seems to apply. I mean,
it does.
Hating on AAA, hating on AA and AAA games has basically become in vogue. I mean, if you think about it, like, you know, of course, we all know about Crackdown, but they've been taking a dump on Anthem.
Yeah.
Come on now, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, I'd say probably the one game that's been dumped on even more so than Crackdown and Anthem is Fallout 76. I mean, they just, I almost felt bad for Bethesda, and that's kind of hard to do. Even the Just Cause, even the latest installment of Just Cause has been getting a lot of hate.
Yep.
I mean, it's as if it's a AAA game, if it's a AA or AAA, then it seems as if it's automatically ripe to receive just a ridiculous amount of hate. And when it comes to the gaming journalism part of it, you know, gaming journalism, sadly, has gone the way of regular journalism. You know, anybody, and somebody earlier said this. That's right. It was one of the listeners, one of the viewers stated that, you know, any bimbo can be a journalist, a game journalist now.
That was DJ Singh.
Well, you know, but that's a valid point. But sadly, it's not just with games.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
even let's be honest, even mainstream journalism.
Oh God, yes.
Anybody can do it now. You know, look, let me tell you guys something. And see, this is very personal to me because I have a degree in broadcast journalism. I went to college, got only one student loan, and had to pay the rest of it myself. I went to college for 4.5, close to 5 years to get my journalism degree. Looking at it now, sometimes and looking at who's on television, and the credentials, it makes me wonder, well, what in the world did I go to college for?
Yeah.
I mean, not to devolve into a totally different topic, but as recently as last week, it was discovered that CNN hired a woman. I can't think of her name. That's probably on purpose, mental block. But CNN hired a woman to head their upcoming political editorial team. So now, what does that mean? A political editorial director for a news network, their job specifically is to determine what, in this case, political, any story that's politically related, their job is to determine what makes it on air and what doesn't. And then when it does make it to air, how much time is devoted to it, what the content of that article or that news event, what will be revealed. Now, it was discovered that this chick that just got hired as their director, their political director at CNN, has no journalistic experience. Did not go to journal. No, I'm serious. Look it up. I wish I could remember the girl's name.
I did see this.
This lady has no journalism experience. Doesn't even have an associate's degree, let alone a bachelor's. Never went to school for journalism.
No.
Has never been on air, whether on television or radio. Has never written a single journalism piece. But yet she gets a well-paid job at CNN of all places, not some little bottom of the barrel outlet. So my point is this: if it can happen in that industry, sadly, it's bleeding over into the game industry.
Oh, you know that.
I mean, now a lot of it can have something to do with social media, because let's face it, with social media being a prevalent part of our everyday lives, it's, we fall into that microwave mentality where we get everything so fast.
Yes.
Without any delay. You mentioned, Jago, you mentioned earlier about how back in the day, we used to get all of our information through the game magazine.
Yes.
Most people don't realize, or maybe they did back then, but they've forgotten since then. Whatever article that you read in those gaming magazines, the day that it hit the bookstores, the game stores, wherever you used to purchase those gaming mags, when it hit market.
I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Yeah, there on average, there was a 2-month lead time. It took 2 months at least, sometimes 3, but on average, 2 months. Whatever you read in a magazine, it was a 2-month long process from research to writing. I'm sorry, I skipped a step. From research to verification to creativity as far as the writing.
Yep.
And then also the editing, because every writer had to answer to an editor, and that
Yep.
editor would have to fact check,
Yep.
would have to proofread,
Yep.
would make sure that before it went to print, because they didn't want to get sued for libel,
Yep.
they had to make sure that everybody's ducks were in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Well, social media changed all that.
Yep. Exactly.
So now you've got stuff being released instantaneously with no oversight, and unfortunately, it's given birth to just anybody saying anything and masquerading it in a lot of cases as fact.
Yep.
Now that and you know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but the one site that I really appreciated that is no longer in existence, GameTrailers.com.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, they didn't do reviews. I mean, I love their credo. They didn't do reviews. They just did game trailers.
Yeah.
You watch the trailer, and then you make up your mind based on the footage you saw. Oh, you know what? That game looks interesting. I think I'm going to give it a shot.
Yep.
Gone.
Yep.
A lot of other sites that didn't exactly do the same thing, but were close. Most of them are either non-existent or they're on the verge of being gone. What irks me the most, I mean, the whole thing is just really gut-wrenching, but what really gets to me is I really don't know what the solution is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we can do what we do, and you know, I may sound biased, but I think we do a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just us. What is it? How can we affect change on a widespread scale? Because it looks as if the problem is just getting worse, not better. I'm the type of person, and always have been. I tend to just walk to the beat of my own drum.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not the type of individual to like read a review and go, oh, well, I'm going to stay away from that game. You know, that's just, you know, but unfortunately, a lot of people aren't like that. And, you know, it's amazing to me that anytime a game like Superman 64 can sell 1 million copies.
God, yeah.
You guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I tried to forget it. Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you for bringing that back to me.
Well, I did that for a reason.
Yeah, I noticed. I won't be able to sleep tonight now.
yeah.
But no, Superman 64 sold over 1 million copies. And there was nobody there. I mean, you had a few that spoke up against it, but it was a high-profile game by a high-profile studio.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those scenarios where anybody that spoke out against it was more or less blackballed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a big stinking turd.
Yeah, it was terrible.
one of the biggest in gaming history.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I mean, anytime you can give E.T. for the 2600 Atari a run for its money.
That was so bad they buried more than 1 million.
I mean, anytime.
I mean, that was a cash in.
Anytime you can give a game like that a run for its money, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
and not get and the game and the product not get called out.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So you know, the modern day reviewer, me personally, I believe that any outlet that has quote unquote gaming journalists personally, I really believe that there should be a universal code of ethics that should be adhered to. No questions asked. Now, the problem with that, going back to my earlier statement, is, well, if the quote unquote mainstream media if they don't abide by those terms anymore, then what hope is there for the gaming industry as far as the gaming media and reviewers? I just don't, until, and I don't mean to sound like a politician, and I'm going to wrap up with this. I don't mean to sound like a politician, but until, just like politics, until we get money out of the industry, as far as reviewers are concerned, I don't know if it's ever going to change. I mean, anytime a company can swoop in and go, hey, you know what? You know what it reminds me of? And again, the whole broadcasting part of me is just speaking up right now. Back in the 60s, well, actually, no, it was before that. Back in the 40s, but especially in the 50s and in the 60s. In the radio broadcasting industry, there was a tactic known as payola. And what payola consisted of was the record companies would send their attorneys, their representatives. They would go to the radio stations with a crate full of records and an envelope full of cash. And they would go to the program directors and the individual DJ. And they would say, okay, you know what? We've got, in this envelope is $50,000. Just pulling the number out. But it would be like tens of thousands of dollars. We're going to pay you guys this money off the books, and we want you to play our record more than you play all the other records you've got in your playlist. And they would do it. And that became the de facto standard. It worked with this record company, so then the other record companies found out, and they're like, well, okay, if they're going to do it, then we need to do it too. And so and it became a really big thing with your major record companies. The smaller startups couldn't afford to do that. So they effectively got muscled out. And then it turned out that, the federal government got involved because it was an FCC violation. And a lot of these major companies got fined. I mean, fined big time. And even to the point where some of the executives went to jail. They went to prison. Now, is that what it's going to have to take? I'm not saying that, but the payola, pay for play thing, that's what it sounds like right now with the gaming industry as far as these reviewers and these IGNs and the GameSpot and whoever, somebody mentioned it earlier about Anthem. You didn't say the name, but I knew which game it was because I heard about it too. Not Anthem. I'm sorry. Titanfall 3, I call it.
Apex.
Thank you. Yeah, when Apex first came out, a lot of the reviews were less than friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But the game got so popular that they turned around and redid their reviews. Now, I'm not saying that the companies were approached, your IGNs and whoever else. I'm not saying they were approached, but it sounds kind of familiar to all of a sudden, like, switch it up. I mean, if you don't like a game, fine, you don't like a game, but don't switch it up because all of a sudden it's popular and you've got to maintain your click count. But that's exactly what's happening. So I don't know. The only thing I can think of, there's got to be some kind of way to establish standards, like, get some people who are writing these reviews, get some professional writers, because I'll tell you what, and it drives me, again, it burns my toast. One of the things that burns my toast. But I get so sick and tired of reading reviews from people who do not know how to use spell check.
Yeah,
what,
that's
really?
true. Yeah,
I mean,
it's not.
Get that right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's.
okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's not all of them. There are good ones out there.
No, it's not all of them. No, it's
but,
not.
you know, I mean, I could just use it as an example. I mean, there's a YouTube channel out there. E-Rock will know the channel. I can't remember the name of it now, but I mean, I'm a bit of a Trekkie. I like Star Trek, and I actually quite like the Star Trek Discovery series. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's really good.
Star Trek.
Yeah, I really like it, and I think it's a really good series. Now, this guy doesn't like the series at all, but every week he will sit down and he will watch every episode as it goes out, and then he will spend an hour on his YouTube channel ripping it to pieces. If you don't like it, why are you wasting 2 hours of your life every week just to hate on something? Surely you could be doing something more positive. But anyway, that's all. That's what I'm going to finish on, because I just find it very, very bizarre. Now, we are running out of time now because Sherman got well into it there.
I apologize. You should have jumped in.
I'm going to have to get him an egg timer. I'm going to get you an egg timer and send it over.
I actually got to go anyway, guys. The kids stopped by with dinner.
No problem, Jago. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show, mate. We'll finish there anyway because we haven't got time to do another topic anyway. That's always what happens whenever us guys get talking. That's it. But there you go. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, mate. I would love to have you on again sometime.
Anytime.
It's been an absolute pleasure. So before you go, mate, just give yourself a shout out and let everybody know where they can find you and say your goodbyes.
I appreciate it, man. Anytime you guys want me on, just hit me up. And if I'm, like I said, if I'm off on Saturday, which most of the time I am, yeah, I'm more than happy to join. It was fun hanging out with you guys.
Awesome.
And, watching Andy be on mute. Anyway, you can catch me on the Game Dusters podcast on Monday nights on the Tactic Glitchers channel at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can find me on Retro Renegades on either Supers or Graphic Gods channel. They go back and forth at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And you can find me on Twitter and, believe it or not, YouTube. I don't do much with my YouTube channel, but I got one. And my Xbox Live at Jago Kuken. And you can actually find me on PlayStation at my old gamer tag because I don't trust Sony to change it. It's actually Tuscany 34. But yeah, that's where you can find me, guys. And in a minute, you can find me eating dinner.
No, it's been a pleasure, mate. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on. So thank you very much for coming.
I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, Jago, I'm going to hit you up on Xbox Live. I'm going to send you a friend request.
Yeah.
Do it. It's the same. I got the same avatar everywhere. So when you type it in, you'll see the same avatar, brother.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Technofunk. So, but you've been listening to the show, so I'm sure you know
that. Every week.
Yeah. So.
Like I said, anytime you guys want me to jump on this, as long as I'm off on Saturday, I'll be there.
Awesome, excellent, and I must add you as well. I think I've got you on there already, but I better just double check. I'm not sure. E-Rock, buddy, do you want to say your goodbyes and shout outs and let everybody know where they can find you?
Hey guys, I want to thank everybody for joining us this week. We had some great topics, great guests, and we'll see you soon. And as always, bye-bye.
And Andy Mack. He's unmuted himself and now he's not talking.
Yeah, I'm just being a knob. I'll teach you. You can find me on Twitter as Beardy Mac. I think it's 86. I don't really care anymore. You can find me on Xbox in a little while playing some Anthem or probably some Division 2. As always,
in a little while, I might hit you up, Andy. That's a man.
Yeah. We're gonna shoot the shit.
What, on Division 2?
No, Anthem.
Anthem. Oh, I've only got the 10-hour trial so far. I haven't bought it yet. didn't think there was much point as I bought 16 copies of The Division. So
Yeah, you haven't even handed them out.
That's a good point.
What's funny is you bought Division 1 twice, and there's been about 3 or 4 giveaways for the second division straight after. So, Micro could really use that. You know what I mean?
Oh my god!
Are we going to set up a GoFundMe page for you?
No, I've already bought it again. Don't even go there. It pains me. I want a signed autograph pair of one of the designer's underpants. The amount of money I spent on that game, I tell you, ridiculous. Anyway, Sherman, my good friend, say goodbye to everybody and let them know where you can find. Well, you've got to set up Twitter, Sherman. It's no good. The Shermanator needs to be on Twitter.
You know, I just might do. I may do it for you. I used to be on Twitter a long time ago, but I just never used it. So
well, you'll use it now.
I should look it up just to see. I doubt if it's still active, but who knows? But yeah, so this is the Shermanator here. Appreciate everybody for listening in, and hope you enjoyed our latest episode. And I can be found on Xbox Live. Gamer tag is Technofunk, TECHNOFUNGK. And quick shout out to, of course, everybody at Project Xbox, all the crazy folks at the DX Mansion. Love each and every one of you. And also everybody at Roscoe's Video Arcade. Appreciate you listening in. And we'll see you on the next episode. And I'll definitely seriously consider reactivating my Twitter account. And you know what? Just one other thing, real quick. Both to everybody at Project Xbox and at the DX Mansion, and to all of you guys, I really appreciate all of you hitting me up and wishing me a happy birthday. Andy, you are the man. I appreciate your gift, brother.
No problem, man.
And I didn't see that one coming. I appreciate it. Hebot, if you're listening, I appreciate you too, brother. Thank you. Just really, it means a lot to me. Everybody reaching out and wishing me a happy birthday this past Wednesday. So thank you.
Excellent. And that is it. That is the MicroPod finished for another week. We will be back on the 16th of March where Wingy Gaming will be joining us for the show. So really looking forward to that one. I'm trying to get him on for ages. Wingy! Finally tied him down to the show. So every time we've booked, he's had the last minute sort of shift change. It's been a real bugger, but he will be on. He's a good crack and a good mate, so I'm looking forward to having him on. But that's it, guys. Myself and E-Rock and Hebot will be back next week for the Microfilm podcast. The MicroPod will be back on the 16th. And thanks for everybody. The chat has been absolutely amazing again tonight. Thank you to everybody. There's just been so many people in the chat. It's hard to go through everybody, but the usual suspects are all in there again. The Indie Gamer as well. I haven't said anything about this actually, but I will say something about this now. Me and Indy have been working on something in the background, and we've got something coming. Still in early days. We're still waiting for a few things to tie up, but we are looking at actually doing a show together called Xbox Today. So
that every day.
No, that'll be something that's coming. I'm still early days, but we hope to be getting that going pretty soon, hopefully. But watch this space, and we'll have some announcements to come hopefully soon. But other than that, the microfilm's doing really well. We had a good first show, and
excellent show.
Really looking forward to getting back on that. And that's going to be a weekly show, the microfilm. So we're gonna be doing that one weekly. But that's it, guys. So make sure you check out Project Xbox, DX Men of the DX Mansion, the guys at Respawn Gaming. Make sure you go and check out their YouTube channel. All the links will be down below for everybody anyway. And obviously, our excellent guest tonight, Jago. Make sure you go and check him out as well. He was bloody brilliant. I'm really glad we managed to get him on the show. So that's it, guys. We'll see you in a fortnight's time. Take care.
See you later, people.
He said Fortnite.
Definitely.